As Casey mentioned, authorities have still yet to answer the big question surrounding this tragedy. Why did this happen? And joining us to share his insight is security expert Steve O. He is the operations manager at Drogue Incorporated here in Austin. Steve, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, sir.
So obviously the investigation here is still ongoing, but what does the evidence point to from your perspective so far as the security situation at this concert?
Well, if I had to do an investigation and try and do like an after action report, the first thing I would look at is how much pre-planning did they have? And were they looking at the possibility of any sort of unruly crowds that were going to turn into what happened, like a stampede or rushing the stage, was commonly known as? And if they had a containment plan, or if they had a plan to get rid of or eject some of the troublemakers. Were they walking around looking at and sizing up the crowd to see what kind of crowd they were dealing with?
Yeah, and this leads me to my next question. I mean, your company deals with security. So what goes into making sure events like this are safe when it comes to things like crowd control, capacity? What steps need to be taken in general?
Well, the first thing you have to do is apply for like a city permit. I'm assuming that was in the city of Houston. They probably had a permit application. In that permit application, generally you have to name who you're going to use for security, how much police, how much fire, how much EMS you're going to stand by. You have to show that you have a certificate of insurance, but then most importantly, you have to have like a plan of action. Like how do I have an evacuation plan or any sort of contingency where something goes bad and we have to go from let's say 10,000, 20,000 people to zero and get them all out safely. The biggest problem you run into is getting everyone out fast and getting them out safely.
And really quickly, just got a few seconds here. Austin's Mayor Steve Adler talking about taking steps to try and prevent what happened in Houston from happening here. Is this a moment that we should be learning something?
Absolutely. I don't know what their floor plan was. If you have a general open seating, it can spread very quickly, where someone like a crowd, unruly, maybe 20, 30 people turning into 100, 200, 300 very quickly. And it's very, very difficult from our standpoint to contain. So I think a lot of lessons need to be learned on this, because we're coming up with South by Southwest. We have 2 weekends of ACL that just happened. We have a lot of festivals that do happen in the city, and we have even Formula One. Now we have NASCAR coming up. There's so many things that happen in the city, and we have to have these go off without a hitch every single time. We can't go wrong.
All right, Steve O, security expert here in Austin. Steve, thanks so much for sharing your perspective with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.